Alrighty, what is going on, ladies and gents? Welcome back to the channel for another weekly update. Hope everybody had a lovely week. And with that being said, let's dive into the TA. All right, guys, we are going to kick it off here with the indices by QQ, IWM. Then we're going to go over the magnificent 7 stocks. And then I have 12 stocks for you to pay attention to next week. Most of these are strong stocks in a weak market. So let's get after it. All right, starting off with SPY, guys, I'm just going to point out you closed out with, kind of tweezer top kind of look over here. That is just when you have 2 upper wicks, pretty equivalent upper wicks over there. Both stemming from the same spot, same area up there. You had a bearish engulfing candlestick on the week, and I do have to assume we're probably going to be coming down into this area like we talked about. It was one or the other we're going to start doing, and we're kind of right here at that spot where we're either going to hold it or we're going to start falling off a cliff over here, and we're going to be targeting right down here. Okay, 200 daily moving average, that's going to be right around 580. All right, so real simple. We're going to make this a quick one. We're going to make this a 10-minute video. Let's get after it. Okay, I'm going to run through things real quick this video, so just bear with me. You can slow me down using the YouTube options there if you would like. All right. On the downside, guys, we have 593.20, 591.05. Underneath 591.05, that's our downside trigger level. If you lose this little demand zone you got going on down here, okay, the zone, we're talking 589.08 and then 583.24. And then I would assume you're going to just come down here. You're going to see this act as a magnet, the 200 daily moving average, which is right around 580. And again, guys, this is 2 weeks in a row. We're just looking heavy here. Yeah, you could pop back up. So let's talk about the bullish scenario, okay? Take out today's high at 599.46. We're probably going to start running it back up. Then we're talking 601.75, 605.37. And then, the sky is the limit there, okay? We're probably just going to be running it back up. Again, we closed right here at the spot. It's make or break. You're either going to hold the 21 EMA here, or you're going to break underneath 591.05, and you're going to start your descent down here. Okay, so that is SPY. Coming over to QQ, you could see my arrow. This is what I'm thinking. Okay, I could be wrong, and you could be moving up, but I kind of got clowned on for flip-flopping up here in this area, from bullish to bearish and stuff like that. And guess what? I think that's kind of, as a trader, exactly what you need to do. And anybody who's not looking at it that way, I'm sorry, I'm frustrating you. But yeah, it's either you're going to do one or the other. And I'm just going to say, guys, the thumbnails and titles, they are, a lot of time representative of where I'm leaning in these videos, but at the same time, they're nothing to trade off of. You need to watch the content. You will have a game plan for bullish and bearish scenarios every single video on multiple stocks. You have more than enough information here to make your money in the market consistently, but you need to watch the videos. You cannot just say, oh, bearish thumbnail, bearish title. Oh, Henry thinks we're just going to plummet off a cliff. No, guys, there's, confirmations. There are, trigger levels, and there are invalidations to the thesis. We talk about the bearish and bullish thesis in every single video. Okay. On the downside over here on QQQ, we're also right here on that 21 EMA. So we're going to watch this level right here, 521.95. That has been the key level that we've been paying attention to. You didn't test it over here. You keep getting bought up over here. But that is what we've been paying attention for a long time here. And that is a key level here. You got tons of reactions right here. If you can't hold it, a doomsday. All right, we're going down. We're going timber. 521.95 underneath there. We're talking 515.97, 511.93, 505.58, and 501.48, which is going to have the 200 daily moving average sitting right below it, near $500. Like you can see over here, guys, this is just going to form a right shoulder. Okay, like you got the head sitting all the way down over here, and you have these shoulders that are in place right now. Okay, you have left shoulder, head, and if we come down, like, you will have the right shoulder in place. That's what I meant to say. Straight up, it looks like we're top heavy right now across the board. It's looking like we're probably going to be pulling back. Of course, we can pop back up. So let's talk about the bullish scenario. You're not getting bullish until you take out 533.33. If you test 533.33 again, I have to assume you're just going to break and you're going to start gunning it for these highs. Above there, you have 535.37 to 536.78. You have that zone. If you can get above 536.78, we're coming straight to all-time highs, 540.81, baby. But again, You got to take out this level for that to happen. As of right now, it's just looking real heavy, okay? Now, this is actually the index that I am bullish on over here. IWM, Russell 2000, small cap index over here. I just don't think it looks all that bad. I really don't. You are sitting right here on the 21 EMA. I'm just going to point out you have a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 5. Well, you know, only one of those led to that second week you coming and falling flat on your face, and then boom, it was a false, you know, false cloud flip over there, which is just, you know, the EMAs flipping to bullish. Guess what? All right, that gives us an 80% odds. If we're just going off of that, there's 80% odds here that we are going to get a little bit of continuation here. I'm not saying all of them amounted to too much, but, you know, right now, this is week number 2 of, you know, it's technically week number 1 of honestly having it flipped, which, you know, would put us like right here. And you could see, like, you know, we also were dancing right around the 21 EMA, and then you went a little higher. You could see right over here, we're also dancing around the 21 EMA, and then you didn't go higher, but you did bounce right back up. So that would be the equivalent of coming back up to the 200. All right, this time, all right, well, guess what? Second week, you just started falling flat on your face. Over here, you could see what happened as well. Okay, this is where we are right here. You did pull back, but you found buyers there at the 21 EMA. Well, over here, what happened? All right, you were just off to the races. So I'm not telling you guys it's going straight up. I'm just pointing to what has happened before. You know, that's 8 out of 10 odds right there. If we're just going to go off of what's happened over the past few years, that we are going to be continuing to get bought up here. Now, I'm also just going to say weekly and daily charts, they don't look all that bearish to me. And the fact that you did not test this 0.618 Fibonacci retracement level at 217 tells me we probably are going to go a little bit higher here. So, you know, maybe IWM plays some catch up over, you know, SPY and QQ while they pull back there. Okay, someone requested that I talk about IWM. I actually get a lot of requests in the comments about the IWM. I just usually, you know, and unless there's a setup over here, I'm just not really going to talk about, but I will talk about it right now because it's really the only bullish out of the 4 indices right now. Okay. DIA, it also has that, you know, heavy kind of look to it going on. Okay. I don't trade DIA, so I don't cover it, but I will just say 3 out of 4 of the indices are suggesting we're probably going to be moving lower, and we're going to tie it off with the volatility index over here. Okay. That is the missing link to our puzzle. And I'm telling you right now, this thing looks like it wants to bounce from here. Okay, it does. It's looking very constructive. You've had buyers supporting this area 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 trading sessions now. Yeah, I think we're probably going to be continue up. But I also told you guys right when this cloud flipped over here and you broke the trend line right there, that it's time to be cautious. I actually told you about it on this spike over here, guys. You know, you got that. And then guess what? Okay, you've been holding this area so well. You're probably going to be using this as a launch pad, honestly. Very tight week this week. And yeah, I'd say if you can get above last week's high at $22, so I'll mark that out as the blue level here. That's your trigger level for further upside. Get above $22 over here. We're talking 24.80 and then maybe 28.32. Maybe we get some sort of volatility event incoming over here. But, you know, I would just say focus on the indices over here. If you see SPY at the 200-day moving average, I'm very confident that is going to provide a major buying opportunity across the board. Of course, we're going to be, you know, connecting the dots in real time. So, you know, stay tuned. If you're a new viewer of this channel, please hit the subscribe button. I promise it's going to do you very well, and you're going to have all the information in the market you need to succeed. All right. On top of that, I'll share my golden tidbits along the way. But, you know, real talk, you're going to have all the dots connected here for you in these videos. And, you know, even if you want to come to your own assumptions about what the market's doing, I will analyze all these stocks for you in real time every single day. Okay. That is what these videos are. Now, moving on over here to the Mag 7 stocks, I'm going to say Google fell flat in its face. That's a real heavy look right there. You got to recover this. You know, honestly, you could fall next week. You know, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It looks like you're probably going to be falling. I don't think you're going to revisit all the way down here, but that is where the golden pocket starts. Either way, it's looking like it's probably going to continue lower over there. Okay, you come over here to Amazon, and that is also looking like it can revisit this 200 daily moving average. I know it's not too far down. You're currently around 210. That's around 204. All right, so that's Amazon. You coming over here to Meta, and again, you have that top heavy kind of look to you, and I have to assume you're probably going to at least go sideways, if not revert to the mean. You're still above this weekly 5 EMA right there. I assume you're probably going to come down here to at least like 667-ish around there. That's the weekly 5 EMA right there. All right, and if you look at the daily chart, you can also see that you kind of failed to move higher over here. Now you're starting to break down. If you break underneath 675.25, that's when you can start playing downside over here to these lower levels. We're talking 662.67. That's where you broke out from over there. And then you have 641.86 and then 622.65. I'm not saying you get all the way down here to 600 at the 200-day moving average, 605. But that is also a key spot. And that is also, honestly, I don't think it's going to happen. I think you're going to be supported over here by the weekly 21. I don't think you're going to break it. I think you're going to revert to the mean. It's going to provide a buying opportunity. And then we go up after this. I think it's going to look exactly like this. Okay. There you go. That's Meta. Coming over to Apple. This is a little bit of a tricky one, guys. I know it looks like the weakest one. I know. I was tricked too over here. This thing literally looks like it wanted to break down. And it shot back up. It's really the only strong Mag 7 stock today. I mean, it closed green on the day as well, but Apple's up 2.25% when everything else is down. So NASDAQ is down 0.4%, SPY is down 0.5%, and Apple's up 2%. Well, it's going opposites to the market. Watch this upper trend line over here. Watch 204.50 break above 204.50. You have 206.75, 209.48, and 214.56. Going over here to Tesla, honestly, guys, I think this is going to be breaking up. I think we are currently, in a consolidation period right here. Maybe it lasts another week or so. But I think overall, this is looking like it still wants to continue going over here. And again, Tesla, strongest months are July and June. We are currently in June, end of June, going into July. We only got one more month of this strong period over here, and so far it's fallen flat on its face. So I assume it's probably going to get moving and grooving right around the corner. You have Robotaxi coming up, and I assume it's honestly going to run into the event. Okay, there's that. Elon's hyping it up on Twitter. I think he's doing it for a reason. Okay, he's going to do something crazy. NVIDIA, it started breaking down from this rising wedge pattern. That should be noted. Underneath 143.12, we're talking 140.85, 139.62, and then 137.40. All right, but again, you have the 21 EMA on the daily time frame here. It could be a weekly reversion to the mean, and that would be at least coming down here to our 137.40 level, okay? And that's going to be underneath that 21 EMA, which means we're probably getting a larger correction. It's on the table to come back down here to 130, and it's going to be a major buying opportunity if we do so. You have a left shoulder, you have a big head, and you're going to have a right shoulder. Big buying opportunity that's presenting itself if we get that pullback. Microsoft, you finally started slicing down underneath this trend line that I put on your radar the other day. This is something I've been watching. This is something that has been respected the whole entire time. And you just now got pretty darn heavy volume here on a bearish engulfing candlestick. You bearish engulfed the body of the last candlestick, and you broke the trend line. Underneath 473.34, we're talking 468.35. Honestly, we'll just mark out today's low. Underneath 476.87, we're talking 473.34. Underneath there, 468.35, 462.52 under there. Again, you're so extended from the weekly moving averages that I think you're very likely either going to trade flat for 1 to 2 weeks, or you're going to pull back into this area around 465-ish, okay, which is close to our 462.52 support over there, okay. So those are the Mag 7 stocks, guys. Not really looking too hot. I'm actually just going to point out AVGO right now as well. It's also one that is holding on over here better than the rest. It's also right at the 21, just like we pointed out SPY and QQ. They're right there. Kind of make or break, okay? If you do end up losing today's low, this thing's coming down here and it's going to revert to the mean. We have a bunch of stocks that aren't near the 5 EMA here. We're probably going to revert to the mean there. So that's something to pay attention to. But I will say it's another stock that's make or break over here. It's not looking too bearish, not looking too bullish. It could go either direction. So you just kind of got to watch it. All right. Now I'm going to talk about these trade ideas going into next week. And yeah, I'm just going to say some are in play right now. Some I'm in right now. Some I like way more than others. I'm going to point out the best ones starting first. Okay. HIMS. HIMS is currently my heaviest position over here. Number 2 spot is Hood. But HIMS is something that I think is going to be pushing all-time highs next week. I've been waiting for this breakout of the consolidation. We got faked out over here. We got a quick 100%, and then the same day, it got sucked right back down. I was like, shite. All right. But, it started pushing out of this consolidation. This pennant you got going on, you can get very tight against the moving averages here on the daily time frame. On the weekly time frame, you're just consolidating against the moving averages as well, the 5 EMA over here. But, real talk, this is the first wide body green bar you have coming into the mix. And usually when we have this consolidation and then you start getting those, that's when the move starts. Okay. So I do think this is going to start. If we can break above 65.89 next week, early next week, I think this thing runs straight to 72.98. Maybe in the same day. I think we have a 10 to 20% day loading over here on HIMS. I do think we have some of these big fat bars loading here. And, even if it doesn't go like that, I think this thing's going to be trekking up to all-time highs next week. And then I think we're going straight to 75 to 80 bucks. All right. So put it on your radar. I'm currently in this bad boy. And it's my heaviest position right now. And then you come over here to Hood, and I'm not going to say it's a similar look, but I will say you're getting real tight over here. This is a 2-week range. You started breaking out. You have 2 closes above 77.80 now. I think this thing is heading to 80 bucks early next week. And then I also think it's heading to 85 all-time highs. That is your IPO high over here. Okay. So that was before it fell off a cliff and into the abyss. And then you came out of the abyss. And you're steadily climbing up, guys. And this thing, it's looking gnarly. Fundamentals of the company, I like this company. I really do. I know people might hate on Robinhood because of the whole GME AMC thing a while back. But, take a step back and realize this actually is a really innovative company that is probably just going to keep growing over here. And the chart is just absolutely immaculate. It's been so strong recently, okay? So that is something for you guys to pay attention to. The next one we're going to be talking about, CRWV. Now, I actually exited this one today. I had next week's calls. I played weeklies early on. We got, I think it was 200-something% on those. We exited those over here on this day. And guess what? You hit it with the break and retest the following day after, and then you closed out the week really strong on heavy volume here. I think this thing is going to 200 bucks. Okay. You had a very, nice wide-bodied green bar over here, breaking up of this, 2-week consolidation you had going on here, this little pennant action. I think this thing is probably going to go straight to 200, but if it does give you a pullback and maybe even test 166.63, I think it's a clear as day buying opportunity. Now, ideally, it doesn't honestly test here, and it only tests 176.75. All right, and that is, that would probably act as a buying opportunity, something like that. And then on this weekly chart, you just have a lower wick here, like on some of these, or some of them you come down, like something like that. You came down first, you gap down, and then you went. So I think if that does happen, it is going to present a buying opportunity for the move to 200. It's very clear that it wants 200, and I think that's coming next. Next one is Rocket Lab. Okay, Rocket Lab closed out the week very strong. Today was a very strong day for Rocket Lab, following yesterday's big day as well. Well, not yesterday, but it was on Wednesday. We were off yesterday. I hope you guys had a lovely off day. I know I did. I am finally home. We're back, baby. We're back in Connecticut. Okay. I'm very happy to be back in the U.S., back in my Connecticut. Honestly, I was amazed by the beauty in Greece, but I got home and I just realized, holy crap, actually, I have a nice house here. Everything is super green here. It's beautiful here. It gave me a new perspective on life. It gave me a new perspective on, I don't know. I really just got. Most people put on weight when they're on vacation. I got on my health grind. I started running again. I'm hyped. Honestly, life is good, guys. And if you have a chance to do something like that, honestly, I would take it. Okay, I would take it. But Rocket Lab, it's looking really nice over here, guys. I think this thing is heading up to all-time highs sooner rather than later. Probably going to happen next week. Maybe it just consolidates here and then gives us a chance to play like a bullfight breakout. But I think it's much more likely that this thing's probably just going to keep going. I think we are actually going to be entering a thing like this. ASTS, this is one I put on your radar after this breakout right here. And this thing just kind of kept going, and I didn't take it. And, I've been on vacation, so I haven't really had all my screens and stuff. I've been trying to do everything off of one. And if you guys been in the Discord, I haven't, there's some days I haven't been live stream. I've been trying to do as much as possible over there, but it really is limiting when you're on vacation with the fam and you only have the one screen to really do things. And you're also 7 hours ahead. So, every time the market would close at 4, it would be freaking 11 o'clock. And then I make the video and, oh, now we finish recording by 12. And then you have to wait 2 hours for it to upload. So I'm on my vacation up until 2 or 3 in the morning, almost every single night, trying to get these videos out and just trying to trade and stuff like that. And, it was a pain in the ass. Now we're back, baby. Okay, we're back. You can join. I'll be live streaming business as usual. Okay, and we're going to be freaking killing it now that we're back in our home. All right, I'm very excited to be back. Honestly, I loved just seeing my setup over here. I was like, oh my God, it's back. Oh my God. All right. Also, we had poor mic quality. Well, now the mic quality is going to be better because I have my whole setup at home. Okay, I don't have to be doing things off of my laptop. All right. But yeah, ASTS, that's one that already went. And, I'm just comparing this to Rocket Lab. I think we're somewhere over here on this Rocket Lab chart, but that's kind of it's not the analog. It's not the exact setup, but, this is definitely the same theme. And yeah, I think this is next up to get up to all-time highs over here in the Rocket theme. All right. Next one I'm putting on your radar is going to be coin. All right. Big breakout this week. You've been consolidating for what, a month and a half here, month and a half. You've been just in consolidation. You have 4 weeks of straight consolidation after your one big push up there. Guess what? It's on heavy volume. Get above 310.61. I think this thing heads to 350 sooner rather than later. And if you do get up there, I think the next week, I think you probably just get here next week. And then the next week after that, this thing's probably going to continue. Maybe it stalls out something like that underneath all-time highs and then pulls back. So maybe it goes something like that. And then it sets up something like that, like where you almost get up there, everyone's all bowled up, and then boom, you pull right back. That could happen. And I think that would present a major buying opportunity. But, in between here and here, I really wouldn't be holding it long. I really wouldn't be too eager to be long in it. And even if you get that little breakout, it is going to be a little bit extended. Okay. As far as, if you're an option trader like myself and, many of us here on this channel, yeah, this is when premiums are going to actually just, they're going to be so pumped. It's going to be ridiculous. But I do think we are in one of these ripper kind of moves over here. And I do think we at least have another week in the tank over here. And if you consolidate next week, it's a buying opportunity for that following week to get up here to 350 to 368.90. That's coin. Carvana is one that printed a nice old hammer candlestick off of the what was I seeing? I guess I was seeing wrong. Okay. Either way, you did end up coming down and you printed a hammer candlestick off of your breakout level over here. I was going to say it was off the 21 EMA, but it wasn't off the 21 EMA. It wasn't, but you did reclaim over here the daily moving averages, and you had a false breakdown over here just to get back up within a few sessions over here. So, typically that does lead to a recovery. You are going to be coming into the golden pocket. I don't think it's going to matter. All right, but at least I think you can get up to 329.01 early next week. Okay, so that's Carvana. The next one is Reddit. So this is one I gave to you guys when it was still in the space. This is actually on the focus list this week, and it exploded. And I know it looks ugly. I know it's looking like it's going to pull back here. I think the pullback creates a buying opportunity. Look how the weekly candle closed. You have increasing volume on this. It looks really pretty, and your weekly EMAs are about to flip back to bullish. We also what happened last time once this thing just got going. And I think this thing is probably going to get going. So Reddit, put it on the radar. Walmart. Turnaround story over here. You found buyers 2 weeks in a row here off of your weekly 21 EMA and your 0.786 fib. I think this thing is probably going to start running it back up. Real talk. This was your reversion to the mean. This is where I think the best entries are going to be taken, down here. And then you're playing for a move back up to like 99.50 to $100. Now, if you get a weekly close above 99.49 right there, where you got all these rejections going on, I think this thing is going to start trekking back up to all-time highs. So put it on the radar. It's something you could be playing over the coming weeks. All right, SOFI, this is, another, it's not so strong as of today, but, I do like how the weekly chart is shaping up here. And I think a pullback is probably going to provide a buying opportunity over here for SOFI to get up into this zone, 1660 to 1711. Okay. Excuse me, I got the hiccups. It's not a Henry James video without the hiccups. Okay. Coming over here to MCD. All right. So I'm not telling you to put it on the radar right now. I will let you know when it starts turning around, but I am now going to be on the lookout for your first green week or a consolidation week, some weekly candle here to tell me that buyers are starting to step in. At all of these bottoms, we see buyers step in. Okay, if we see this candle right here print next week, it's a buy, and we're gonna put it in. We're gonna be watching, okay, and I'm probably gonna take a trade off of it, okay. So it's something you could pay attention to. But again, I will let you know when it happened. I'm just, putting on your radar early on, okay. Next one is going to be PayPal. PayPal is one that I do think started turning around today. Well, I know it started turning around today, but I do think it probably is going to start turning around. You get all the way back up here, and the real first sign that's going to be happening is we need to break back above the daily 21 EMA. All right, we have to get above this. Honestly, if you can get above 7250 here, 7249, I think it starts pushing back up here, and then we test the 200. Okay, regardless, I think this setup is it's got more in the tank than what it already gave us. Okay, you're kind of right over here. It's actually, you bounce off the same level, literally. All right, yesterday. I think this thing is about to start reversing, and if we can take out this weekly's high at 7249, then I do think that's kind of proven to us that it does want to start moving again. Bulls do want to take this up, and the next target is going to be the 200 DMA up here, and then the 0.618 fib at 79 bucks. TTWO. All right, this is one that closed out the week strong. We typically don't get these perfect double tops, and if you do get a pullback off of these perfect double tops, it usually provides a buying opportunity. So if we pull back all the way here, 215 to 220, it's probably just going to be a buying opportunity before going back up. So I'll just put it on your radar for either that pullback if it happens, all right, it's a buy the dip opportunity, or just break out above 240.78. And I think we're probably going to be in a breakout sequence here where, we could head to 250, 260 pretty quick here. All right, you get this range going on. It's slowly building on itself, and it looks like it wants to go. PLTR is the last one I am going to put on your radar in the bull camp, okay? I know it closed out pretty ugly this week, but if it pulls back, I think at the end of the day, this is going to be bought up. Watch for it to be bought up off of the daily 21 over here. Watch for it to hold. And yeah, there's that. But I did point out the best trade ideas in the beginning, which I'll just highlight them. It's going to be HIMS. Hands down, I think this is the best one right here. I think all-time highs comes next week. I think this could be a big winner for us over here. Next one is Hood. All right, showing so much strength in this market right now. Next one after that, CRWV, but I'm just going to tell you guys, I'll be straight up with this. I got out of this. Premiums are expensive. This is a risky guy. If this thing starts falling and it falls back underneath 166.63, like this thing tanks. Okay. Like you're coming all the way down here to 140, maybe 140 to 145 if you get under 166.63. So, it's a hot setup, but it's not really one that I would be playing now. I played it, while I was in here, and then on the breakout, I did my best to trade that. And although I didn't get to hold my weeklies for this move, I did catch over here, and yeah, we got a pretty penny off of those. And I do think it's heading up to 200, but it's one of the stronger ones. But I'm also going to say it's high risk, big reward over here. That's really how it is. All right, and Rocket Lab is that last real clean setup that I would point to and say like this has extremely high odds that this is about to head higher. All right, same thing over here when you got the pullback and then you went like that, okay, or like that. Same thing. All right, if they can't bust them down, they busted you up. Okay, and it's likely heading up to all-time highs, 30 through 34. All right, guys, I'm going to mention one weak one that I don't understand why it has a cult following right now. I have absolutely no idea. This thing has developed the cult following for being the weakest stock. Like, that's literally why people started, following along with this and being obsessed with it, is because it's the weakest stock. Does that really make all that much sense to you? Does not make any sense to me, okay? You only get bullish when it breaks above 318.80, and then you can play it for a move up to 342, which is gap resistance. But underneath there, guys, you're not touching this thing. Okay, like you don't need to touch it long. There's absolutely no reason to, and you can, but I think you're completely wasting your time and your resources while there are other hot setups to actually focus on that can be making you money. All right, guys, with that being said, I will catch you on the next one. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please remember to leave a like. I do my best in these videos to, supply you guys with all the info you need to make your money. I don't think there's another channel that will just point to so many trade ideas every single week for you guys for absolutely no cost to you. This is what people pay for. I do it for free on here. I just ask that you scratch my back and leave a like. My back right now, it's itchy. I would like it scratched because I scratch your backs all the time. And I really try and do my best to scratch those back. So it really would mean the world to me. I love when I see a bunch of likes. And I guarantee we get more views on the channel and more new subscribers when we increase the likes. Okay. And like, leave a comment, guys. I'll respond. I'll at least heart it. But yeah, I read all the comments and I will respond to anything if you want to chat. All right, you want to talk stocks? I'm here to talk stocks. Other than that, if you want to come trade with me, link will be down below. And with that being said, I will catch y'all in the next one. Peace.